Hey, action figure fans, welcome back to the Spectre Creative channel, where we look at action figures and collecting and all things fun and toy from an interesting perspective. Because I'm your host, Scott Toy Guru Knightlick, and I am a collector and a parent, and I'm also a toy professional. I've been in the toy action figure collector business for about 25 years, and this has given me a very unique perspective, and I'm glad to share it on this channel. And thanks for all the positive support to everyone who has been commenting. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions and make some corrections to previous videos and kind of do a potpourri of subjects that maybe don't need a full video on their own, but hey, work all together. So, without further ado, let's jump in. First up, I have a correction to make. In the video I did recently on Masters of the Universe and Toy Pitching, I talked about the artwork on the back of the Four Horsemen, not pitching, I'm sorry, the Four Horsemen video and what they did to save Motu. This piece here, I gave credit to Emiliano, and it actually was done by Nate Barish. So I want to make sure I absolutely give the credit to the artist who did that, and Nate's done a lot of great Motu work. I've actually hired him to do Motu work and private work. He's a great artist. So Nate did that work from the Four Horsemen video. Next, a quick other correction. When I did the He-Man Battle Armor video, I talked about how the device from the vintage figure basically came directly from the Hot Wheels Crack-Ups line, not Crashers. I keep saying Crashers, it's Crack-Ups. And I mistakenly talked about how there was a button on the car that reset it. And no, it was not a button, it was a side that flipped around. But I got so many comments that were like, it wasn't a button, you just flip it manually. So, okay, totally, got that wrong. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so let's see. Tom Smith asks if I could do a breakdown on the manufacturing of a figure. So, I did this for the most part. I did a video called Action Figure Cost Breakdown on this channel. You can see it here on the link. But essentially, it's tooling, which costs anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 for a giant metal tool, and then the cost of the raw plastic and the cost of paint. The easiest thing to reduce in a toy is going to be the paint, because the tooling is a sunk cost, and the plastic is basically, unless you're going to eliminate an accessory or a leg, that's basically, you have to put it into an injection molded machine here and inject hot molten plastic into your tool and make your figure. So reducing plastic's a little tough. Paint deco, on the other hand, here's the thing. Every time the brush touches your figure, it costs pretty much a penny, depending on the vendor you're using. But that tends to be the going rate. And this is public knowledge. I mean, you can contact vendors yourself. I'm not giving away any proprietary information here. And this is why figures like Zebra Stripe Batman took so long to do. Bill Beneke and I had that on our desks for years. And I even called Bill and congratulated him when they finally did it at Comic-Con, probably because they could charge a premium. He needs so much deco. All right, let's see. Proud Hug asks if I can talk about safety rules with toys. Specifically talking about the Boba Fett figure that was redone, etc., etc. And I did actually recently do a video on this, but I didn't give him credit for asking the question. So that's why I wanted this to pop up now, because I always like to credit people in the comments who inspire questions. All right, Matthew Prime 1 asked me to do a video addressing scalpers. So also a video I recently did talking about scalpers, and again, I forgot to give him credit. I basically copy and paste anyone who asks questions. But there are a few other additional information about scalpers that I want to address real quick, because it does come up in the comments a ton. So the bottom line is, with a scalper, you're basically paying that person more or less to do your work for you, meaning to go toy hunting for you. And this is definitely an advantage if the toy is exclusive to one retailer and you just don't have time to go there. But then the question comes about empty pegs, and the fact that empty pegs seem to persist in the collector product market at retail, because yes, all it takes is one collector or one scalper to come in the morning and they'll buy the entire case pack. And that's a big reason for empty pegs. And retailers aren't set up to have tons and tons of refill in the back, because what if a wave doesn't sell? Then they're stuck with all this inventory in the back that they can't replenish with. So it's kind of one of those risk, reward marketing things. And while yes, a scalper can come in and grab everything off of a pallet or a peg, I think the antidote to this is just time. I mean, Motu Origins for the last few months has been really hard to find, and the price was at like $60 a figure. Now it's down to like $20 a figure on eBay on the aftermarket, and it's going to keep dropping because the product is still shipping, and all product continues to ship. And really, if you're just patient enough, you can avoid scalpers altogether, and you can get stuff at retail. I know we all want it now. I'm like that too. I mean, I absolutely want it now, and unless it's something like a super, super limited edition set, I don't think, honestly, scalpers are basically just catering to those people, again, that just have to have it now. If you can wait a week, couple weeks, or a couple months, you're going to find this stuff at retail. Retail is in the business of selling it. It's just that scalpers and or one single collector can clean them out, and they're not going to get a refill for a while. All right. Canadian Cookie asks a video about companies deciding about production mistakes and when they decide to make a replacement. Well, this kind of depends on your definition of mistake. And yeah, no, I'm not trying to be Bill Clinton here and define the word is. But mistake can mean a different thing to collectors versus parents. And let's be blunt here, parents are the vast majority of toy purchasers, because children are the vast majority of toy receivers. So when a company is going to recall a toy, it's really going to look at it as a safety issue for a child, like what even happened with the vintage Boba Fett that fired a missile. Children put things in mouths. It's just a fact. They do. It's actually from an oral fixation. It's a whole Freudian thing. My wife is a psychotherapist, and she knows all about this stuff a lot better than I do. But essentially, if a toy presents a danger, be it lead paint or a projectile or a piece that's going to fall off that a child could choke on, that's really when companies look at recalling items. There are exceptions. There can be PR disasters that cause a toy to be recalled, like the infamous Tarzan, whose hand was in a very unfortunate place for his sound effect and his action feature. I'll let you guys look that one up if you need more information. Although I think I did cover it on the History of Action Figures video. So, hey, check that video out too. Or there's the infamous Cabbage Patch Kid from the very late 80s that had a feature where you could feed it little kind of clay pieces of food and it would chew it up because it had a razor blade inside of it that would munch it and would actually cut it. I mean, granted, the razor blade was inside the head, in the mouth. You couldn't get to it, but, gosh forbid that it got a hold of your hair, because this toy was particular for munching all the way to the scalp if it happened to catch your hair. So you can understand the safety issue and why this had to be pulled from the market. So that's really why toy companies recall items, because there's a safety issue. I know a lot of collectors will get a product they feel is not up to par. Let's talk about Roboto with his swapped shoulders, those things that connect the arm to the body. Well, I hate to break it to you, and I hate to be like the guy that, not that brings the bad news, but at least brings the focus. This is not really considered a major issue in a company. I get to us collectors, and I'm including myself in that, because I am a huge fan of Motu Classics, as well as the guy who helped make it. But something like that is just not seen as a catastrophic issue that causes a recall or for a company to have to go into production again and replace those, because that's extremely expensive. And especially collector lines like that are very, very small run, and they just don't add up to a huge, I wouldn't say priority, but it's really just chalked up to an oops. And, these kind of mistakes do happen, especially when you're dealing with highly detailed figures. A company that specializes in collector, like Hot Toys, might be a little different. But for the big companies, they'll often do something like this, which is a Hot Wheels apology car. So Hot Wheels is notorious over the years for when a mistake happens, they will send out a free car. And that's actually how we addressed this with Motu Classics. We sent everyone a free Masters of the Universe figure as a way of apologizing when figures didn't come out perfect. It was kind of the best and only option we had, because a recall or a reproduction is just so expensive. Unless it's a child toy and we're actually talking about a danger of a child hurting themselves, You're just not going to see reissues or recalls. All right, so the next question is regarding the WWE Motu mashup line, asking my opinion on that, since I gave my opinion on the Motu Origins. So yeah, I'm happy to give my opinion on this. Well, I guess for starters, I'm not a huge fan of mashups in general. And I'm not talking about something where you have like a versus pack, Alien versus Predator or He-Man versus Superman, because you're still retaining the original version of that figure. But granted, you're still splitting the fan base because you've got to find someone who's a fan of both of them. What I'm talking about is more, like this My Little Pony San Diego Comic-Con HasCon exclusive, where they did Dungeons and Dragons and My Little Ponies, or in the case of the WWE Motu mashup, where you're taking two properties and putting them together to create something unique. It's fun, it's awesome, but it has a very limited audience, and that's why I tend, as a marketer, when I have to put my marketing hat on, that's the issue, because it's harder to sell, because you've got a smaller audience. Someone has to be a fan of both of those properties and a big fan to enjoy the mashup. So really, it's only because it cuts down on the audience size that makes me kind of question. As a toy fan, I think it's awesome. I think it's hilarious. I think it's fun. But I think the biggest thing it has going for it is that the WWE superstars are huge Motu fans. Every time we had a presentation at Mattel where we were lucky enough to have a superstar come join us, and these were mostly internal presentations to sales, they would always come up to me and be like, "You're the Motu guy, right? Oh my gosh, you work on Motu Classics. I love Motu Classics." Like, it was, I wouldn't say shocking, but it was almost like clockwork. Every single time we had a WWE superstar, they would always find me backstage and start grilling me about He-Man toys. So that's probably a big reason for it, is WWE superstars love Motu, and why not? It's awesome. So I'm guessing that, a big reason for doing this is because, the licensor really was excited for it, because, they want to please the superstars too. Not to mention toy fans, but I'm sure that contributed. All right, so let's see. Mike Jenkins Reviews asks me to clarify about the She-Ra rights, with the fact that whether or not they can appear together in entertainment. And yeah, I just did a video about this, but the question that has popped up a lot since I posted this was about the fact that She-Ra and He-Man appear in comic books together. And people saying, well, wait a minute, if you just said they can't appear together, like, in a Netflix series or a live-action movie, why am I holding in my hands a comic book that has both She-Ra and He-Man in it? Now, while normally I am not a fan of this technique, because I feel like all contracts should be honored, there is a big loophole when it comes to comic books. And as much as we all love comic books, from a contract standpoint and from an industry standpoint, comic books aren't considered entertainment. I know I just said that out loud. Here I am, a lifelong comic book fan. But versus something like a live-action movie or an animated show, comic books just aren't considered, from a legal standpoint, to be entertainment. They're basically considered advertising, collateral. That's why we were able to have She-Ra, there she is at the top right, in the Motu Classics mini-comics. In fact, that's even why we were able to do mini-comics in the first place. Mattel doesn't have entertainment rights to Masters of the Universe. It's with, was it Universal now, I think, right? Because DreamWorks acquired Classic Media, that acquired Filmation, or not Filmation, that acquired Hallmark and entertainment rights. It's go see the video. But basically, because comic books are not considered entertainment, they don't fit in with that category where Mattel, from as far as the property, just has toy rights. And it's the same, so that's why we could do comics in Motu Classics, and it's why She-Ra can appear with He-Man in the DC comics, because comic books aren't considered entertainment. I know, it breaks my heart even to say that out loud. But, hey, it is what it is, and honestly, the loophole lets us have these really cool stories and enjoy them. So hey, enjoy it, because sometimes there's loopholes that fall in our favor, shall we say. All right, I hope this video clarified and answered a lot of FAQs. If you've got more, leave them in the comments. I do pull them out and save them for videos like this or others, and I promise to try to give more credit to people when I do full videos. Thank you guys for watching. Give the channel a like, give me a subscription. It helps pass the channel along and let YouTube know it's popular. I appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.